My M50 wife, F48, abandoned me 2 months ago to find herself. I am not Oop. Oop is you, Throratus Apiru. Originally posted to R. True off my chest. My M50 wife, F48, abandoned me 2 months ago to find herself. Trigger warnings. Mentions of dementia, infidelity, financial abuse, emotional abuse, theft, less than, and NBSP. Original post October 27, 2023. My wife Mary's family has a history of dementia, developing memory issues in their mid to late 50s. Her mom, grandmother and several other relatives on her mom's side have developed dementia. Her mom lived with us for 4 years until earlier this year. Father is dead. Our kids are independent and out of the house. Oldest is in her last semester of college and the younger enlisted. The last 4 years were tough on us. Our kids' daughter moved for college but moved back for a bit during COVID. And our marriage. Living with someone with dementia is brutal. We had talked a lot the last year about taking the remaining college funds, our regular savings, sell or rent the house. We were ready to downsize anyway, quit our jobs and travel for a year or until the money runs out. We just had to wait for her mom to move into a home. I understand her anxiety about developing dementia and I was burned out. You lived through COVID working remote, a wife working remote, a college and high school student taking remote classes, and a mill with dementia, and see how you hold up. Space finally opened up and we were able to move her mom into a care facility. I finally thought I had a chance to breathe. When we moved Mary's mom out, Mary's mental health took huge downward spiral. I went from caring for her mom to caring for her. She felt guilty about putting her mom in a home and had lots of anxiety about developing dementia. Our plan was to start our traveling summer 2024. 2 months ago I get home and she's left a note. My friends call it Exhibit A. Basically she was going on our trip without me. She had quit her job, took most of the savings, and wasn't sure when she'd be back. Maybe a year, maybe sooner. She knew I'd understand. Her location is turned off and my calls go directly to VM. I texted the kids a picture of the note. We have our own checking accounts for direct deposits of our paychecks, but we transfer most into a joint account to pay the household bills and savings. We both had access to main savings account. We have joint credit cards we used for household expenses. The 2 cars and mortgage are joint. We both also have our own small savings accounts, our own retirement accounts, equally funded, and our own credit cards for gifts and fun things. I closed all joint cards and accounts. I waited a month to see if she'd come back, hopefully before she spent our savings. After receiving only 1 text the first month, I went to a lawyer. She basically said there was very little to do right now, other than change the beneficiaries of my retirement accounts and life insurance. Yay! My wife gets nothing else if I die alone while she's having our adventures. It was only a month and there was no way to serve her papers. My lawyer advised me to keep paying the mortgage and the cars. The cost of trying to get a judge to approve the sale of joint assets was more than making payments. I didn't want to ruin my credit by letting one of our car get repossessed. But I can't sell it because she's on the title. I get random texts and she sporadically posts on Instagram. Of course she has comments turned off. I want to block her so bad. But my lawyer advised me that it's better to maintain a communication channel that's not through our kids. Her last post was from Hawaii. She put in the comments how great a husband I was for letting her take this trip. I'm barely making it paying 2 cars, a mortgage, household bills, insurance, hoping there are no emergencies because I have no savings. And she's enjoying our trip. For her, I'm so pissed at her. I helped take care of her mom for 4 years. And her when she fell apart after her mom moved into a memory care home. And she returns the favor by abandoning me. I'll never get to take this trip and have to put off retirement. My only solace is the kids are pissed at her, but they'll probably forgive her eventually. F her. I'm no fool. She's hooking up with guys. She looks good. She'll have zero problem getting men. I texted her and asked if she was sleeping around. A week later she responded that she wasn't. Sure face with rolling eyes. So, I'm drinking alone on a Friday night and she's somewhere. Probably on a beach. Enjoying life. F her. Edit. Corrected typos. Edit 2. My lawyer has given me a bunch of advice and options. It was just way more than I could possibly include in this postie. Could definitely push the issue harder. And I might need to at some point. But all that work is very expensive. Finding her, serving her, getting a judge to sign off. That's not cheap. I'm following up soon and I plan on talking about the savings and my finances. Until I paid all the bills and realized how little was left, it didn't hit me that I had to worry about money. And NBSP. Relevant comments. King of Leprechauns. Thanking you for letting her take this trip is basically her saying, when I get through living the single life, I'll be coming back to the comfort and security of married life. When she returns, I'd say, welcome home. Here are your walking papers. Op. She 100% is under the delusion that she's coming back to a marriage. She's had a few conversations with our daughter and she's convinced I'll understand and forgive her. Naive subject 65. Tell your daughter to pass along the message that you're filing for divorce for abandonment and see if this gets you some traction. I don't generally like the idea of going through kids, but they need to have your back on this. Maybe even tell her they'll cut her off as well if she keeps doing this to you and the family. Maybe even start posting about how she's living the good life and letting your friends and family know what kind of pickle this has put you in. Everyone probably assumes you're on board if you're not purposefully driving the true narrative. Op. She only hears what she wants. I asked her to send me an address to serve her papers. She only told me that we'll work it out when she comes home. The F we will. My daughter tells her all the pain she's causing. But she just says that she only has 510 years left until she gets dementia. It's impossible to know if she'll even develop dementia. But shouldn't she be spending this with her family? And NBSP. Update November 13th, 2023. An update from my original post. I'm feeling much more positive now that the financial situation has become a little more manageable. Basically, I'm running up debt that will get paid off when I sell the house. Even with lawyer fees, I have 68 more months before I have to worry about money. Assuming there are no emergencies. My friend's wife gave me some good advice. Don't go from being a hero to a villain in your kids' eyes. How I talk about and treat my wife will determine my future relationship with my kids. I don't give a damn about my wife. But I don't want to make her a sympathetic figure or drive them away from both of us. I followed up with the lawyer. Basically, she said we're going to have her pay back the savings she took through a reduction in her share of the assets. Any division of assets will include the savings she took. She'll also have to repay the money I spent maintaining the household while she was gone. There is plenty of equity in her share of the house and her retirement plans to cover that. She said that our finances are so intertwined after nearly 25 years of marriage. My wife is going to get some share of the assets. Best case is she agrees to the terms of the divorce and it's relatively cheap and quick. Otherwise it gets complicated and expensive. She gave me a lot of options and how much I can expect to spend. So I decided to just mostly wait. I got a couple of credit cards with promo rates for purchases and transfers. That gives me breathing room and I can conserve cash. I'll just pay them off when I sell the house. Now that my financial situation is less stressful, I'm actually enjoying her being gone. I'm free to do whatever I want, whenever. I don't have to cook or clean or take care of anyone. The house is quiet for the first time I can remember. I loved my wife, but her mental health weighed down our marriage. On balance, it was worth it until now. The first month or so I expected her to be there whenever I'd get home. When someone was at the door or if I heard noises, I'd think it was her. I'd check doorbell cam obsessively. I'm not looking forward to her returning. It has to happen. But when she comes back, I'll have to deal with her. The divorce, getting the house ready to sell, dividing all our stuff, finding a new place to live. I'm hoping she'll stay away until after New Year's, but my daughter said she thinks her mom will be home for Christmas, either to stay or visit. My lawyer will have papers ready to serve her. Hopefully she'll just agree to the terms and continue her travels. People had some great advice. Renting or selling the house. Not really feasible right now since I'd have to fix some stuff and get it ready to sell. Rent. Since I need a place to live the amount I net each month. Rent. Mortgage rent on a new apartment storage unit equals not worth it. My kids' rooms are still full of their stuff and I don't want to spend the time and effort to clear them out and put them in storage. Getting a HELOC. This was great advice. I didn't realize I didn't need both people to get a loan. If I need more money, I can go this way. In the short term, the promo rates on the credit cards were cheaper and easier than getting a HELOC. Serving my wife divorce papers or getting a divorce in absentia. This is something I might need to do eventually. But the cost in lawyer fees goes up exponentially in cases like this. I'm comfortable just waiting for now. Look at the phone bill to see where she's at and possibly going. I did look at her usage and did notice that she doesn't post on social media until after she leaves a place. Like when she posted about Hawaii, she made a call that day that originated in Los Angeles. She posted about a cruise and I figured out the dates. Trying to serve her at the port possibly. But it ended a couple of days before she posted. She tried adding international calling to her line, but I blocked it, so she removed her phone from our account. And NBSP. Relevant comments. Zelda Pin. Oh my gosh, I am infuriated on your behalf. The audacity of, my husband is so great for letting me take this trip. The petty in me hopes she'll be home for Thanksgiving because I want her world to explode. Op. She's told her family she won't be home for Thanksgiving. Nobody told her my daughter and I are spending Thanksgiving with her family. Though, she can see the posts of us having a good time without her. Old gal Miss PT. Please change the locks on the house so she can't just waltz back in while you are out one day. I'm so angry for you. I've been married for 23 years and if my husband did this to me, God help anyone between me and him. Op. She left her keys. I changed the code on the security system, the passphrase, and password. I also found a new hiding place for the emergency key we had in the backyard. Love being an asshole. So she's just going to blow through all the money and then assumes you'll take her back and care for her when dementia hits her? Op. Seems to be her plan. But it's not mine. And NBSP. This is a repost sub. I am not oop. All I want for Christmas is the next update to this story. I can already taste the satisfaction of the next update. This is on par with the wife who recovered from cancer and then decided to have an affair and basically assumed her husband would take it lying down. Spoiler alert. He did not. I am truly mad right now. Like, what is her thought process? She'll claim she had some sort of mental break BC of her mom and facing her own mortality and blah. Blah blah. I hope she gets not an ounce of sympathy. Wonder why the daughter is maintaining contact. Is it so she can pass info to dad? Or is she desperate to believe that the mom she knew and loved is still in there and can come back? The eventual update on this 10 months from now is going to be infuriating. Was anyone else's first idea to just go to the kids and say, I can't afford the house or the cars on just my wages with no savings. When would you like to come over and clear out your stuff? Forcing people to see the consequences of actions tends to hammer home the difference between quirky shopping spree and life-ruining theft verging on the mental break. I know people will immediately posit that her future dementia is playing a role in all of this. But at the same time, the way she's approached leaving and hiding her location, stealing the finances, shows a lot more cunning than most people who are fully healthy would think to utilize. It could very well be that her decision-making capabilities is being affected, and that's what caused all of this. But there's only so far that can be taken into account with how her actions have affected Oop. Wow, I hope he changes the locks before Absentina turns back up. She's not coming back. This is a woman who does not intend to live with the consequences or dementia. She doesn't want her husband and kids to deal with the fallout when she does it. She knows full well her share will cover what she's spent. Imho. I'd be checking if she's updated her will. I don't think she's being non-committal about divorce papers because she intends to come home. If they're still married when she passes, her estate is his. You don't go from spiraling depression to living it up without a care after what she's been through and what she knows is coming for her in the future. Oh man. A part of me wonders if she's having some kind of mental break or something. Not dementia. But I have an inkling that she's not all there. Not an excuse for what she did at all. I'm mostly just curious. One of my mom's dearest friend's husbands just up and left a few months ago. Just packed a bag and went to a hotel and is barely communicating with anyone at all, including his grown children. I don't know what triggered him either. Some people are just selfish. I will start by saying that I think this woman is wrong for this. As devil's advocate, I will also tell you that I used to have a patient that had early onset frontotemporal dementia and aphasia. Think Bruce Willis. His ex-wife was his financially responsible party. She told me that she was his ex-wife because he had suddenly turned into such an incredibly selfish, impulsive, uncaring and financially reckless person that she filed for divorce. Just when the divorce was being finalized, he was diagnosed with this condition that was causing all of his hurtful behaviors. By the time I met him, he was unable to remember that they were divorced. He was just utterly bereft at being apart from her and confined to a locked ward, and he wanted to die because he knew his mind was going but his body was young and healthy. Point being, OP's wife is afraid of the future dementia, but it may well have already entered her life. A horrible prospect, but a better scenario for OP, given that it would mean she wasn't really doing him so dirty, she's just ill. I would consider two scenarios. 1. She contemplating suicide and refusing divorce papers, so her estate goes to you. 2. She already has dementia and it's heavily affecting her. Impulse control is sometimes the first thing affected, or a combination of 1 and 2. In a way, OP is quite optimistic. The part that confuses me is why the kids aren't more vocal to this narcissist about the consequences of her actions, because the consequence that will fall to them, the kids, is that they will be the ones that will have to take care of their mother when OP pieces out of this farce of a marriage and the dementia kicks in. The kids probably have the most to lose here. Maybe they don't realize it? Even though she is institutionalized, OOP's mill still needs someone to make primary care decisions. So the wife has likely abandoned her mother, as well as Oop and kids. Can you have her declared incompetent? Maybe this whole event is because dementia is already a factor? I very rarely gasp when reading a story, but I gasped a few times during your story. I can't believe that someone can be so selfish and horrid. She may or may not get dementia down the track, but she's already got some serious mental health problems. Narcissistic? Delusional? I'm so sorry this has happened to you. It's so sad, and you don't deserve any of this. You've been amazing in your ability to be practical through it all. I wonder if her delusions about how everything will go back to normal and that Op would understand could actually be symptomatic of onset dementia. I'm reminded of another BORU where the wife, who was living with a potential rediagnosis of cancer, wanted to have a free pass for a guy at her work. But she just couldn't understand why her husband wouldn't agree to it. I think he divorced her in the end. I hope the Op does the same. I think what's probably happened here is that she started to recognize early signs of dementia. I don't think her plan is to come home. She's going to probably keep traveling around until the money runs out and then end it all at a facility. Once you've seen someone die with dementia, you don't want to go through that. She utterly screwed her husband over. But I think what she's telling herself is that this is better than declining at home and having him as her carer. He would also have not agreed to blow their entire savings when he would have years ahead of him. So that's why she made such a selfish choice.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.